Welcome back to Real Life Reviews, and in this video and also the next video I'm looking for some solutions for bike storage. Now I've got a very particular need. There's lots out there on the market that you can put up against a wall, that you can fix. There's standalone big stands and you can get them made for as many bikes as you like. But what I'm after is something that's standalone, can be used individually, so I can put some next to each other to make effectively a bit of a rack, or I can make a cube, or I can at one point choose to put them against the wall or move them away from the wall. But I also want the bikes to be vertical. So there are loads of solutions out there for bike storage, but I can't find many that are freestanding, individual, vertical storage units. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at one solution, and I'm going to take a look at another solution in the next video, and then probably compare the two and see how they are. So what I'm hoping for when I get into this box, and I'm going to do an unboxing bit as well, is that here I've got the Costway Freestanding vertical bike stand. So the first thing I notice, I'll just spin this round so you might get a better view of it, give it a bit of an angle. On this brown box that it's come in, it says, inspired by value, quality that lasts. That's almost a challenge to me. Let's have a look. Right then, let's just give this a bit of a, there we go, tear it off. Interestingly, it does say, do not open with knife. So try not to. If you're ordering the same one, what I can now show you is that in the top of the box, it's got a little polystyrene cover. If you're careful, you can probably open that with a knife. So what do we have? We have bolts in there. There's a little spanner. There's an Allen key, and that's going to be the top wheel retainer, I think. So we'll put that down. Yeah, nicely packaged, I've got to say. So bubble wrapped, so metal tube, but bubble wrapped. And again, next part, again in its bubble wrap, so no problem with that. It looks like it's been really well packaged and delivered out. These are now, last two bits are again bubble wrapped. Yeah, it looks like we've got no problems in terms of the quality of the packaging and what's been sent. So next thing, let's just take everything out of its bubble wrap and lay it out so we can see. Just clip the zip tie there. We've already got that tube. Get rid of the bubble wrap. Just pull these apart. We've got there we go, an angled tube. Don't really want to take a knife to these at the moment. Aha. So that looks very much like a wheel support. And again, just turn that round. Let's get rid of the bubble wrap. And what have we got here? Another piece of tubing. So there we are, all the parts that come in the box, and they don't look like we've got any real chips. There's a little mark there, but I'm not worried about that. So it looks good quality, it looks well made. Good start. So I've just opened up the accessory pack. There's not a lot in there. That's good, less for me to actually put together and keeps things simple. However, I've just come across my first little concern. If I pick up the instructions, and hopefully you might get to, it'll focus and you can read these. If I start from the bottom, it says screw M6 by 38. Well, if I move those away, here we are. I would actually call them bolts, not screws, but there we go, that's me. But I have 8 30mm M6 bolts. Good. Carrying on with the instructions here, the next pair, next two up, we have an M6 screw by, they keep saying screw, bolt M6 by 35 2 and 2 nuts to go with them. Again, here we are, 35mm M6s with 2 nuts. And then coming to the top, screw M6 by 30 1 and the cup nut 1. As you can see, we're left with a 35, not a 30. It's the same size as those two. So it remains to be seen whether that will fit as it is, or whether I might have to just cut that down. But quite frankly, for the sake of one bolt, I would cut that down. I could probably find one anyway in my shed. So let's start putting it together. So the first real step of construction is to take what they call the step bar, which is the base bar, and to fit the rear frame, as they call it, this one, into it. It simply, yeah, it slides in. That's how it's going to be. And we have, if I just tilt it up, 4 holes that we're going to put M6 bolts through to tighten it on. So I will just quickly do that. So I've just put the 4 bolts in. I've put them in loosely. I've not tightened them up, which is a good thing, because when it came to the last one, you did need a little bit of wiggling to get it in. So I mean, usual advice when you've got multiples like this, multiple bolts or screws to do, fit one, fit another, but don't tighten them up and do them loose. I'll just tighten these up now, and then we'll move on to the next stage. There's our base part then. I've got to say it's pretty solid and I'm impressed with that bit so far. So the next stage is to fit the front frame, and here it is. You'll notice it's also got a stabilizing leg on the back. That's welded on, so hopefully the weld will hold, and the front frame simply slots in, and the other 4 of the shorter M6 bolts fix that on. So I'll just do that for you. There we are, that's that job done. And yes, the 4th one was a little bit fiddly to get in, but you might expect that. But I've got to say, this is now looking really solid. And yeah, if I set it down, I mean, that looks like I could quite happily use that, I think, as a standalone horizontal stand for a bike. I'm sure that would be absolutely fine, although that's not what I bought it for. So let's move on now to the next stage and look at fitting the vertical bar, because I really want this to be a freestanding vertical stand. Now though, let's look at fitting the lower arm to the side. You'll notice from here, or I hope you'll notice if we can get closer, that there are 3 sets of holes, and there are in the frame 2 sets of holes. What this means is that we have 2 positions that we can fit the bar. It can fit so it's slightly higher or slightly lower if you've got a smaller bike for a child or whatever. So this is where the 35mm bolts come in, and we'll just fit those now. They simply go through and tighten up. For the final part of the frame, there's obviously the top wheel hold still to come, but the final part, the upper bar, just slots in. It's quite a tight fit. He's going to go in, and I'm going to tighten him with, or fit him with, the M6 35, the 35mm M6 I've got left. What I would say is, if I had the 30mm left, it would be quite a tight fit. So I'm not dischuffed. It might be the instructions that are wrong and it's meant to have a 35 here, but I'm not dischuffed that I've got the longer bolt for this part. So there's the bolt fitted. 35mm, 5mm off there. Perhaps it does stick out a bit. However, I'm not sending stuff back for the sake of that. I've got to say that was quite a tight fit getting the top bar in, but from that respect, it's a good fit and it's not loose and wobbly. So yeah, happy with that. That now leaves me with the final part, the front wheel or the top wheel holder, because you could always mount your bike rear wheel upwards. So simply take the nut and the washer off. That's going to feed through. Yeah, looking good. And then the washer, it's a split washer on there. Nut on. Okay, and I will get the spanner and tighten that up, but then that can move around to lock the wheel. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Okay, so I have to say my gut reaction is it's quite sturdy and firm. I'm going to obviously put some bikes in it now and we'll have a look at it with some bikes, but I'm pretty impressed with the way this has been made and the way it's gone together. So at the moment, it's a thumbs up. So I've moved outside where I know I've not really bought this stand to go outside at all, but where I've got a bit more space than you can just see. So I'm going to start with a road bike, carbon, my Colnago, and just have a look at slotting that in. Okay, that looks pretty straightforward to me. I think I'd want a strap between the down tube and the wheel. Perfect. You could almost have trained your bike to have done that. That's what I thought would happen. So a little strap probably there to hold you straight. Other than that though, pretty happy. The advertising for this says bikes up to 2.3 inch tyres. So I want this to hold mountain bikes as well, or I want these, because if I were to go for this system, I'd have a number of them. So let's try this with my cross-country mountain bike, which currently has a 2.3 tyre on the rear. So let's have a look. There we go, and that's a lot more stable with the hook at the top as well. And maybe it's because the hook's hooking on lower down the wheel and not further up. I did think putting it in, I might lower the top tube for that. Not the bike top tube, the top tube, the tubing on the stand. But that looks pretty good, and it's pretty stable. So yeah, happy with that. 2.3 inch tyre. No problem whatsoever. And my final test was to be my enduro bike, because I wanted to see if a 2.4 inch tyre would actually fit. I can tell you, and I'll show you, that it does, no problem at all. My problem is the length and the rake on my enduro bike makes it too big. But just to show you that the tyre does fit, so no problem whatsoever with the tyre. The frame's just not tall enough to be able to slot the front wheel into its guide. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. In the description down below is a link to Wiggle, and they sell an awful lot of the kit that we review on this channel. Sadly, not yet this stand. You'll have to type in Costway into your browser or your search engine. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, well, just click on the round circle down there, and down there, a link to our website. I mentioned earlier a link up there to another option, which we're reviewing over the course of next week, and also up there, a little video, a short one on how to align your bike saddle. So many thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.